No, that's good. He's fine. He's fine.
It's a Rose place, Terry. I know, and I guess
They they could hear you now.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Thank you. How are you?
Good.
Good.
There's a little bug or something I decided not to share with everybody, so I'm staying home today.
It's probably a good idea. There's been a lot of bugs going around even down here.
I'll bet.
Fortunately, we've steered clear so far.
Can I ask, I want to ask you, Judy?
Yes.
So this is his first time to do this. So do you keep yours unmuted unless you want to say something when the meeting's going on? How do you handle the mute, unmute for,
I leave it on, but if Gary or the dogs start barking, then I just hit the mute button.
oh, okay. So as long as it's quiet in here, you can leave it open and
Yeah.
that way it's a two-way conversation. Is that,
That's correct. Yes,
it's possible for a two-way?
it is.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, we're both new at this. It's like Zoom, but not exactly. So if you
Right.
see anything he needs to know, just tell him, okay?
Oh, I'm sure he's fine. I had to have Bill set my computer up so that I could, not my computer, but my iPad so that I could do this. So I'm certainly no expert at that. I touched something last time. That's why I'm hesitant to touch anything. And it threw me off. And then it took a while before they got me back on. So it's like, I know where the mute button is. That's all I'm going to deal with. If I can't see
Okay.
people, that's okay. As
That's
long as they
good
can
to know.
see me.
You're good. Okay. Just leave it unmuted.
Well-
If you feel like you're gonna swear at somebody or something. If you feel like
If I
you're
feel
gonna
like swearing at somebody, I'll go ahead and
If you
do
feel
it.
like you're gonna say something inappropriate.
Oh, if I feel like swearing, I will too.
I told Joe, if you feel like you're gonna say something inappropriate, just hit the mute button.
Well, we can't hit the mute button when we're at the meeting, so.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wish we could.
Yeah.
Did you get the agenda printed off and all that?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, you have your agenda
Mhm.
here. Your agenda. Oh,
17, right?
yes. Well, I have another one over here.
Yeah.
I remember having a bug last spring and wearing a mask. I think it was last spring, maybe it was the spring before, because I didn't want to contaminate everybody either.
Well, that's the top.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, if you want something.
What I've got is somewhat uncomfortable, and there are times I'd like to share it with all of them.
I understand.
Can you hear what they're saying, Judy?
No, can you?
No. So I assume they've got us muted that way or some way.
Yeah, I'm assuming so.
We'll open it up.
Yeah. If not, what I usually do is I text someone and say, I can't hear you, and then they do whatever it is on their end.
managing that. And just change the pictures.
It looks like it's fine.
They're changing. Yep. And we just got all kinds of people up there.
Yeah, I see Ed Vodilia. I know I
Thank
can't
you.
see.
I'll let him out.
You forgot the ice cream.
You said that last time.
Yeah. You know. Chuck. Who did you? Found the list?
Yeah, yeah.
He was there. I'm thinking turn it in, turn it to.
You guys ready? Do this.
Yep.
He's all over the place.
That's what I found clean term.
But his knowledge and his ideas for Brown County, he lives in
Are you
Brown County.
timing? Right.
All right, I've got 5:30. We're gonna. Call it easy. Pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
To the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No, I don't look at that. I just want to, guidance to get things.
Everybody has the agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda? Anyone?
I've got a formality issue.
Okay.
When Sandy, when we take a vote as a council body and you're the Robert's Rules of Order guy. Shouldn't we, somebody motions, somebody seconds, discussion, or have a discussion, then it's a motion and a second. And then somebody goes, all in favor, and whoever's in favor raises their hand. All opposed, everybody at the same time raises their hand. Once we do that, then Sandy can do her roll call.
Second,
It's,
I'll make a motion.
Yeah.
that would be the process going forward, rather than starting out and doing it.
Should we consult with our Roberts Rules consultant?
He's sitting right there.
Well, by Roberts, what we do is a motion, somebody makes a motion, we second it, and then there's debate and discussion on it.
Right, then,
Yeah, can't,
and then when you as the president.
once we've had up discussion,
Yeah, just all in favor, and then those in favor raise your hand,
and then we'll
and then
do.
those opposed. And then after that, then Sandy clearly could go through and then make sure she documents how each member voted. Fair.
Everybody's in agreement on that?
Yep.
Sound good by,
Can I speak from here and then you go up there?
yeah, go ahead and put the mic.
Robert says you should speak at the mic.
Yeah.
Didn't have my experience. Yeah, Dwayne Parsons here. I don't have my book with me, but it's almost kind of redundant to have Sandy do her call after you. The president can call for the vote, and it can either be the verbal or can be the written type, but verbal works. And all in favor, aye. And then any opposed, and nay is not a word. Remember that.
What is it?
No,
No,
Okay, no.
no. Nay is something, then they stated in Robert's Rules, nay is something a horse does.
So
Okay.
if we do the show of hands and then the roll call, is that, or is it one or the other? Or
Yeah.
Both acceptable.
I think one or the other, it's kind of redundant to do it twice unless you're recording who voted yes, who voted no. And that,
Yeah, all I'm thinking of Sandy because she's got to do the minutes.
Yeah.
And so she's, we do that.
I'll look it up and.
Well, it goes down pretty
to you, but-
quick and it would be easy for her just to go through and document it.
Yeah, I think, if she calls it off, it's,
So,
You okay with just going with roll call?
no, I would prefer to do it
Everybody okay with that?
Which one? What?
Show of hands.
the old fashioned way. Show hands.
Yeah, show of
Yeah.
hands, verbal, and
And
then.
if Sandy needs clarification to make sure, then we.
Yeah, that way Sandy can,
Yeah.
Dwayne, one other
the clarification.
question.
there's a hand out there.
Got a question for him. Or go ahead.
Yeah, because I can't hear.
Yes, please.
You done with me?
Pam Gould, in meetings that I have been on historically in the past, if the hand vote was taken and everyone is the same sign, either all are in favor or all are opposed, that's all that's needed. But if there's a difference, if you've got one nay and, the rest are ayes or vice versa, that's when you might want to call for a
Yeah.
roll call.
Quick question for Dwayne. I mean, and that's kind of maybe a suggestion for the president too. On votes like approval of minutes, just real minor technical things where no one, like adjournment. I would just ask that you don't work Sandy's hand to do a voice vote and a roll call, just do a voice vote.
Yeah, that's.
So she doesn't have
I
to
think I
write it
discussed that
every
at our
time.
work session, the
Yeah,
minutes and approval of minutes and adjourn,
just, yeah,
just show of hands.
right. And there's no roll call needed in that case. Yeah, good.
And since you're adopting some of them, but not all of them, for the book, that's that thick. Long as Mr. President tells you which way you're going to go is Darren's rules. Which is, that can suffice. But the consistency is the word.
And that was in that summary that I sent you guys after the first meeting, and it's it's still a work in progress and something that'll probably be picked up our next work session. Discuss it then and see how we want to go. Thank you, Dwayne. Have a motion to accept the agenda?
So move.
Second.
Second.
Have a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have the minutes from regular meeting of January 20th and our work session of February 5th. Everybody get a chance to look at those.
Different motion?
Yep.
Move we approve both. Move we approve both.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve them.
Minutes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It's accepted. Reports, do we have any 2027 budget concerns? Julie?
Not anymore, we're getting them fixed.
Anything in particular? We do have everybody see the proposed 27 budget schedule that Reedy sent to us. Everybody get to see that?
No,
Make sure we get that sent back out. As of right now, have an update on the Indiana ROI.
So last meeting, council wanted to just quick update on the timeline and the process for ROI. The Regional Economic Development District that we've been in discussions about for some time. It's about once a consultant is selected by ROI, it's about a 12-month process of kind of launch, broad engagement, analysis, strategy development and validation, drafting and review, and then a big portion of public engagement will include a couple dozen stakeholder group interviews, a region-wide community survey, multiple county listening sessions, regional economic forum. I think that's, half day or day, additional stakeholder focus groups, and then some monthly steering committee meetings. And so it's kind of a layered approach. You've got a handout in front of you that kind of gathers input from business leaders, workforce partners, local officials, residents to shape a data-informed, community-driven regional plan. And so this whole plan that has been funded is designed to just gather our local community input and put a package together that we think would be good for us and the region, and then ask the Economic Development Authority agency to the EDA to approve that, and then it would come back to the local elected officials for ultimate sign off. So there's multiple checks along the way where we could say, hey, we're not interested. We think this is not working based on community input, and lots of opportunity for public engagement. So as you see there, so I'm looking forward to finding out who our consultant is going to be and getting to work on that.
Thank you. Business. Have we received any more submissions for RDC appointments?
No, we just put it back in the paper again today with the Peterborough. It's just like, okay, that's right out of my head.
We have an advertisement for Peterborough and for.
Yeah, because Judy Simpson Wright is stepping down, so we're gonna have to have a new appointment there.
Thank you. The commissioner's budget change ordinance. that did not make it onto Gateway in time for us to vote on it today, correct?
Mhm.
But it has been put on there.
It's getting put on there.
Okay.
I've been working on my AFR first. It's due at the end of the month.
Are we gonna, is it gonna be there on time
It'll be on time for the meeting.
for the work session meeting? Or for the next regular meeting?
We have to have 14 days, so
Right.
just usually pushing it.
Is that causing any problems for the commissioner's office at the moment?
No.
Okay. Salary ordinance. We have that. Did everybody receive a copy of it?
I sent it out all at the same time, so everyone. Y'all should have got a copy in your emails.
Yeah, I got it.
And it's all pretty much accepted, approved by the departments as such, as far as we know.
Yes,
And we're gonna get the FES training sometime, any idea? Sometime in March, possibly?
hopefully.
FES training.
The numerical value.
I know exactly what the
Yeah,
FES is, factory evaluation.
There, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And with regards to the salary ordinance, I have some issues with it. I've got a number of issues. Number one, I don't know how much red ink we're writing right now for 2026, specifically the general fund. So I know we're in the red. That means we're negative, right? So budget deficit. Number two, I got your Excel spreadsheet, but I'm not gonna go in through and spend 4, 5, 6 hours having to filter through, that amount of information that's in there. And I guess my primary concern is that salary ordinances, I have no idea of where we are as far as what our 2025, I know what our 2025 labor costs were, but I have no idea what our 2026 labor costs are projected to be. And the reason I don't know that, because went in somebody, and then I have no idea who did it or how it was done, but there were changes made in that factor evaluation system on job positions. Job positions were increased. I don't know how many job positions were. So, those are my concerns.
I'm not getting it.
You're breaking, Jim's breaking up.
It's true. So this is some concerns.
It still isn't any better. We can't hear you.
Sound went dead, kids.
Yep, sounds dead.
That's not.
He started out good, crazy. No. Can't
No,
hear you.
we're not hearing anything out here.
It's very broken and staticky.
I'm pretty sure Jim broke it.
Say something. Okay. We have Susan. She's not on. So, in summary.
We've only had one executive session.
It's good.
Live?
Can Jim
Thank you.
repeat what he said? I'm sorry, Jim. I know you don't want to, but Joel and I are interested because I have concerns as well.
All right, let me see if I can just start at the beginning, and I'll try to be as quick as I possibly can. First of all, my memory serves me best. We had an executive session. We met with Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy. They gave us a packet of information, of which I still have. We walked through the factory evaluation system, a couple hours. But we as a council body have never had a 3-hour discussion focused specifically on this factor evaluation system and the entire labor cost of the county. Now, why am I bringing this up? Well, I'm bringing it up because with the labor cost and the employee benefits, we're approximately $11.5 million. I had a conversation today with the treasurer's office, and they told me there's 26 pays. The last pay period, it was $197,000. Now that $197,000, that is net. That's net what actually gets paid to all the employees through ACH, which is the automated clearinghouse. All right. That does not include local taxes, federal taxes, PERF at 11.2%, unemployment, workman's comp. Okay, all the stuff that gets stacked on top of that. And to give you some scope, I've calculated at a $42,000 annual salary. By the time you stack it up and add everything in, you're really at $66,000 a year. So my concern is that you take the general fund, for example, 10 million, which is the forecasted revenue for 2026, which we're over now. We're right in red ink because we didn't report in the black that much in October when we passed it. So we're right in red ink right now. And I don't have any, we've never collectively as a council body taken a deep dive, had a 3-hour discussion on this factor evaluation system, kind of tear it apart, look at it, right? And then what changes were made from 25 to 26, because I know someone, or was told, someone went, we went in, someone went in, and somebody made decisions, and there were specific employees, I'll back up, specific job descriptions with specific departments, and someone made decisions to increase the cost above and beyond what was based off of 2025 pay grades. So, for example, I have no idea, did we increase it? Did that increase the labor cost over 25 by 100 grand, 50 grand, 200 grand? I have no idea. I have no idea of what amount, how we made the decision to increase these job positions within these various different departments. I don't know the total number of employees. I don't know that. The other concern I have as well is that if I remember correctly, I'm pulling from memory, is that when we talked to WIS, they had targeted and made a recommendation, and I think we paid them 45 grand to do this, made a recommendation that the target was to be 50% external. So they went out and looked at other peer counties, right, and come up with and developed a composite number and said, okay, here's where you are. This is where you need to work towards. But we as a council body have never looked at that and said, okay, if we were to implement that factor evaluation system based off the recommendation of WIS, it's going to cost the county, let's say, $800,000 in additional labor cost. Well, now you got to add FICA, everything else on top of that, right? And when I did do some quick math to give you an idea, I believe the general fund covers approximately 25 departments and about 66% of the labor costs come out of the general fund. So my concern is that we collectively as a body never sit down and take the time that's really required for us to go in, do the heavy mental lifting, really evaluate this system. So all of us are competent with this factor evaluation system, and we truly are working to try to understand, where are we? How do we move forward? How do we try to implement this? Because right now, I know for a fact, because we got the data in my thing, we're writing red ink. I mean, we are running a budget deficit for 2026, okay? And we haven't even got through February. So that doesn't include any continued additional appropriations throughout the year. I have no idea where we finish 12/31 of 2025. I don't know if we're in red ink. I have no idea what the cash reserve balance is for all the primary funds. And as a council member, and I've been public with this on Facebook, I'm a taxpayer and I'm self-employed. And every quarter, I have to write a check to the United States Treasury and the Indiana Department of Revenue. And every quarter, I know exactly how much money I'm giving Brown County. Okay? Because I have to write the checks, I got to sign them, I got to mail them in. And so, to me, when I look at the state statutes for the council body, the states that we are responsible for fiscal policy. And we should be doing everything we can to make sure every year we are running budget surpluses, not deficits, right? Because the challenge is if I look, I've done it. I've got it in my office. I went back from 2024, and Gateway goes back 14 years. And the last 14 years, period ending 12/31 of 2024, we were 8 out of the 14 years in red ink. We're writing budget deficits. So as a council person, it concerns me greatly, all right? And it concerns me because if we don't get ahead of this, all right, it's not that we have money in the bank with the treasurer's office. We all know that, right? But we cannot continue to run budget deficits, ignore it, burn down our cash reserves, because my concern is simply this: at what point does it happen in 27? Does it happen in 28? Does it happen in 29? At what point does the conversation come up that we need to increase income taxes by 50 basis points and start to push it over 3%? Because we're at 2.554, I believe, right now. We can't go any higher on property tax because we're already at the max levy. So what I'm uncomfortable with is I'm really not interested in telling the taxpayers, hey, we've overspent, so we need to get more money from you and you got to live on less. Because that's essentially what we're doing. And so I'm just voicing it now because that's where my head is at.
Aren't we actually building our cash reserves?
How can we build cash reserves if we're running budget deficits?
Because we're not spending money we don't have.
Yes, we are.
We're not in budget.
Okay.
Are we spending money we don't have? Not that I'm aware of. No.
There it is, Darren. It's here, black and white. It's right here. This was the budget that we passed.
Right.
Okay.
What you're talking about.
No, I've got it right here, Darren.
What you're talking about are additional appropriations.
No, I'm not.
That's outside of the budget.
See, this is the problem.
That's a budget.
No, it's right here. We hired Reedy Financial. Jerry Hickman's a CPA. He's got 15 years experience working with municipal governments. All right. They forecasted our revenues, all right, for 2026 at a scooch over 10 million, $10,032,701. At that time, on the budget that we passed in October to meet the November 1st deadline, the expenses in the general fund total $9,856,663. All right, that was a budget surplus of $176,000. That's it. That's all we had. Now, if you don't trust these numbers, then I guess we've got a problem. But this is, I'm looking at it, and he's got all the funds here. So what we did is we had to go back and we had to reappropriate 120 grand in the HSA, did we not?
that was appropriated, that.
No, it was not in the budget. I took it out of the budget.
Right, it was appropriate.
If I have $176,000 surplus,
Okay, I got a proposal for you. We tabled the salary ordinance today. We have our work session coming up on Thursday. We'll get Reedy in here. We'll spend the entire 3 hours going over the salary.
let's do it.
Is that good?
Yeah, perfect.
But I want to say something.
Judy has something to say.
I voice similar concerns. I feel really uncomfortable that a few people decided that there would be changes made without consulting the whole council. And some people were changed from excluded, meaning no overtime, that kind of thing, to now being able to get overtime. Those are statutes based upon the federal laws. And WIS was very clear on who's excluded, who's exempt, and those types of things. And I have a problem when we go in and we just all of a sudden change that. Because now people can get overtime, and that's just gonna cost us more. That's just one of my concerns. You know, was WIS involved in this? You know, I'm not okay with the salary ordinance. That's all I have to say.
Okay, can I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
And my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is we debated staying with the old salary rates. We decided, no, let's get a new footing and put the WIS stuff in place. We knew it wasn't perfect, and we found out that some verbiage in there says a supervisor or manager implies things we didn't understand or realize. That's why we want to go in and sort it out, find out what needs to be done. The commissioners have the job descriptions, and we as a council have the COMOC exec, the categories, yeah. So it needs work. Jim's accurate in a lot of that, it needs work. So we need to go do it, see the implications in detail. But it was our choice to step into it. We knew there would be some problems going on.
Yeah, that's what we said from the start, implementing the FAS. We are going to be.
And I agree. I was part of stating that, because we need to get away from that. But if we're going to do it, we need to do it according to the guidelines that WIS sets up. Otherwise, we're opening a can of worms with a bunch of other employees who are going to want overtime because so-and-so, because another position's getting overtime. When we get away from their guidelines and statutes and laws, we are opening ourselves up in a can of worms. So my suggestion is that we call WIS in again and we talk to them about office manager, office administrator, whatever those concerns are, and let them work through it. They're the professionals. We are not.
That's already in place. That's where we're going as soon as we can. They couldn't do it in February.
Yeah, and what I'm advocating for is that we as a council body, all right, now we've got 4 months until July 1st rolls around. True? And they go by real fast, is it not? All right. So because the labor cost is the most, that is the largest cost that we have as a county government. Yeah. Okay. That we as a council body, if it takes 6 hours, 2 special sessions, I mean, I don't care how much time it takes us, but I think it's extremely important for all of us to be on the same page, to where we have taken the time to not have WIS or have someone else, tell us what to think, but rather for us to take the time to think it through, to work, to comprehend that factor evaluation. So we thoroughly understand, we all really understand it. We understand the labor cost per department, because the other issue too, keep in mind, we still have not addressed, and I'm not quite sure what we did with regards to stipends for the law enforcement center. But, there was $183,000 stipends that we did here last year, because Brad was under some heavy pressure, right? There's a lot of upward pressure on his labor costs, what's going on in the state. And then we had the problem with the Department of Corrections and taking forever to try to get any refunds. Well, we need, to me, we still really haven't addressed the, the sheriff's department dispatch, the jail employees, right? And so we really need, to me, go through and do our due diligence and take the time to really understand what we passed and understand what's in it. Because if we can do that now and get on it on the front end, then we can be prepared for the 2027 budget. Can we not? Yeah, and that's what I'd like to see us do.
Yeah. We passed it and we had, along with what you're saying, and we set up a committee of 3 people. Judy is one and Kevin and the other 2 right now. So I, talked about it to actually carry it forth and implement it. So we don't have to rely on this as we go forward. But we do realize we need training on the numerical system and, verbiage in there, what it applies.
Yeah, but I think we're all smart enough.
We are.
No, we're smart enough. And if we spend some time talking it through, then we can figure it out and go, okay, I understand this. I understand how they're doing it. Yeah, because the only thing that I might take away from WIS when I talk about, the challenge, because I'm pulling from memory, is that the one thing WIS did give us is that, let's say we create, there's a new position that's created, that's created. And so we create this new position and we write up the job description. And do we have the formula to where we can score that job description to come up with the scoring system to determine what the compensation should be for that employee? Or does that mean the county has to be dependent upon WIS every time that we go? If something changes, we've got to go to WIS, we have to pay them, right? And they'll write the job description, they'll calculate what the pay grade should, or the pay should be for that system. To me, I don't have a problem out leveraging WIS, but at the same time, I think the council members need to be educated, and we as a body need to understand it and really be in a position to, if we need to do it ourselves, we can. We're not dependent on WIS.
Right, that's the purpose of having WIS come in and give.
Yeah, we're in agreement on that. Right.
That, have them come in
Right.
and give us guidance on
Yeah.
what.
And
So, the job classifications we have.
right, so.
We have the definitions.
I know,
So we can understand.
but we've not taken the time that I think that we should to do our due diligence as a group, as a group, because I have a lot of questions I have that I don't have answers to. All right,
I think we're gonna do that, and I think we actually expanded it beyond the commissioners and council. We're discussing it at least to expand it to the department heads.
And
So they all know how it's done, so they know how to grade their people and proper content.
yeah, that's
That-
fine.
that department heads coming in to talk to Julie about there were some minor changes that they suggested because for one, last time we did it.
Yeah, let's,
We'll get it.
we're gonna table this until the special session.
It's in process.
There were some extra, some extra.
What was changed, how much, or who wanted the changes.
Yeah.
I'll make a.
Yeah, and with the increases from
Yeah.
26 over to 2025 pay grades.
Yeah, I'll do
Right,
that.
because,
A detailed list of what changed.
yeah,
Wrote all that stuff down.
yeah, how much is that increase that we've got?
Yeah, I'll get that to you.
And we did have a meeting where we implemented this. We looked at all the different levels of change on this. The most was gonna cost us, what, if we went to the external, it was gonna cost us $840,000, and we said we can't do that. So we looked at the different levels of it. And we ended up going with the.
But could we do it, could we move towards that direction over the next 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, that's the plan.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, what we implemented was, I think.
For anybody that was lower than the internal, they went up to the internal. This is how they.
I'm not going to do it right now.
Right. I think all these things are in place, so it's good awareness. Let's just move forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody want to make a motion to table the salary ordinance until our next book session, and then we will devote the entire session
3 hours, specifically, nothing else.
to answer all your questions.
Well, no, we didn't.
Judy, answer your questions,
Yeah.
concerns.
Are there any?
Yeah,
Julie,
Excuse me?
are there any invitations to tabling at this point? Okay. So I'll make a motion, we table it.
I was gonna make a motion, you can second. Okay, we'll make a motion.
I don't care.
Make a motion.
You make the motion. Go ahead.
do it.
Go ahead, Jim.
Move it.
I'm on a motion that we table the salary ordinance, and we move that to the special session on the first Thursday in the month of March at 9 a.m. and that we use the entire 3 hours to focus specifically as a council body on the factor evaluation system and our labor cost.
One point about that, I don't know that FBS or WIS will be in place to train us as to the implications of it at that point.
Right.
I'm not so concerned with that. I'm not, I know, but I'm not, Gary, I'm not. I'll second it, then we can discuss it.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Yes, I think we, we're all smart people. We get our stuff. We all have the paperwork the WIS gave us, do we not? Does everybody still have that file that they gave us?
But I don't think they gave anything as to the correlation of the numerical values. They gave other things, because we,
Well, let's go through it. Let's spend an hour. Let's talk about it.
We
Discuss it.
another meeting going on.
Yeah, and let's identify any shortfalls, let's look at it, say, well, here's a gap that we need WIS to help with. And make a list of what specifically did we need WIS to help us with it, fine, and tell them, tell Lori specifically what we need help with. And that following the special session meeting, we continue on, because to me, that, if we start now, and I've got several items, on the budget, for example, once we do this body of work on the compensation factor evaluation system, and we kind of work through that, where we understand where we are, kind of put it, frame it in the context for 2027's budget, because it's 4 months away. Then we need to go through and look at what we're spending on legal fees as a county. What did we spend last year with Reedy? What was the breakdown of the legal fees, the total bill? Right? And we need to look at our professional advisors and some of these line item expenses and to understand, how much are we, let me give you an example. Group medical. Okay, we budgeted 2.7 million for group medical. That was based off of Apex. All right, that was their number. All right, now what we probably ought to do is have a meeting where we go through, all of us understand what makes up that 2.7 million. Okay, because that's another big expense. And then furthermore, once we all understand, because this is where we have Perry come in and walk us through, each little piece of the group medical plan. And then we as the council draft a policy of how we're going to fund group medical each and every year. So for example, do you set it up by 15% cost of living for inflation because how fair cost increase? How much are we going to maintain? We voted on a resolution a couple of years ago to, I think, try to maintain at least, $1 million. Should we have $1.5 million in reserves just in case to protect ourselves? So we don't have a policy in writing. So every budget year when it rolls around, we can simply look at our policy, follow the policy. This is how much we're funded, and it's over.
We can discuss that at a later.
At a later date.
Yeah,
I know.
put it on the-
I know, but you don't ever have an opportunity, we don't have an opportunity to discuss, okay?
But that's outside of the scope of the motion.
Okay.
You gotta reread the motion.
All right, the motion simply is, we table the salary ordinance conversation. We put that on the special session meeting on the first Thursday of March, whatever that date is, at 9 o'clock. We're gonna use the 3 hours to discuss that factor evaluation system. And we're gonna discuss it in the context of the total labor cost for 26, so that we can start talking about 27's budget.
All right, would you consider friendly amendment?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Agree with you, when you talk about the FES system, I do not think we will see a new position created in the county for the foreseeable future, so I don't know that we need to spend a ton of time figuring out how to grade new positions, that sort of thing. I would like to spend that time on the changes that were made that we are not aware of. Focus on that. I would also like to walk and shoot down the same time and add time for internal control discussion and assignment of duties, as well as budget preparations and kick the health insurance conversation to the following health, work session. Does that work? So, could I restate a friendly amendment for you? Okay, amended motion would be to table the salary ordinance and put on the agenda for our upcoming work session, a discussion about the following three things. One, salary ordinance, particularly focusing on changes that were recently made to the grading, as well as fully burdened budget impacts.
This is a long motion.
So three things. Yeah,
Summarize the motion into a sentence.
that actually was a sentence, it was a run-on.
Yes.
Yeah. So here's the motion. Table the salary ordinance, add it to the next work session agenda along with internal controls and budget preparations for 2027.
How about just a motion to table the salary ordinance discussion for our work session meeting? To have a full discussion of changes and where we are.
That was not my amendment. Okay.
We have a second.
First, we have to get the whole.
So what do you have, Sandy?
You don't want to know what I have. I just feel like. Salary,
How do we do this?
internal controls,
Okay.
and I didn't get to the third, the budget preparation.
Budget, 2027 budget preparation.
The question I have is though, if we're gonna spend the entire hour going over the salary ordinance with all with the changes that were made, are we gonna have time to delve into the internal control discussion? Because that's another 8-hour discussion.
I mean, I think,
Separate from the topic that Jim had made a motion for.
I just think we have to
I know we
do
have
more than one thing at a time. We cannot, as much as I'd love to spend many hours talking about the FES system, I think we should also allocate time to talk about these other also important things.
The purpose of tabling this discussion is so we can have a full discussion of the salary ordinance to get it understood by every member of council so we can finally vote to approve it. And if that takes all 3 hours, I don't want to cut that discussion short because we have something else.
Yeah, that's-
The entire meeting was proposed to be devoted to salary ordinance, getting it understood, voted on, cleared and done.
Okay, the only other thing along with Scott is we do need to start talking about internal control. It is coincident with the salary.
It's on the
I
agenda.
know it's the next thing on there, so I'm just saying, we do need to begin to address it, put it in place, rather than push it down the.
Would you kind of maybe a compromise here? So let's do 2 hours on salary control and 30 minutes on internal controls and 30 minutes on 2027 budget preparation.
Yeah, I can approve that. Let's just do this. How about we do this? Let's just go back.
Well, what we have was we have a motion and a second.
I know.
We have a motion for,
I'm gonna,
hold on, we have a motion for an amendment. Is there a second to the amendment?
So I'll withdraw that.
The motion for the amendment dies. So what we have is a motion and a second.
yeah, so we're just gonna. So the motion's real simple. We're gonna table the salary ordinance and we're gonna spend 3 hours on the first Thursday of March. And we're gonna talk about the salary ordinance, the FES system. And what we can do before the meeting is if we all have questions, and then we can submit it to the president. So then to you, the president, I'll give them to you, and you can do what you want to with them. And then we'll just address that, because Scott, I think what will happen is we start walking through, then, when you say internal controls, I think policy, establishing policies on specific issues. And so we can kind of keep a tab of issues and conversations that may pop up and go, oh, that's an area that we need a policy on, this is an area. So that we can facilitate that conversation on that Thursday, but it's primarily focused on on labor costs, 2026 factor evaluation system, and do it in the context. I'm not saying that we're going to talk about 2027, but we're going to think of it as we look at it, have a conversation. This is a really long motion. Sorry. Okay. So let me just back up. Make the motion that we table this, put it on the special session meeting, And that's it. That's my motion.
I would think that. That's like
Yeah,
that.
can we vote, please? Yes, okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Roll call.
No, say aye.
Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aaron,
Yes.
Judy,
Yeah.
Aye.
Scott,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Patrick, yes. Your website says, oh, the website says we have to be expert. I was gonna address that. But I'm glad you said that because I saw that. We, on our website, it lists that we have a special work session meeting for this Thursday. Yeah, I don't know how I got put on there. Yeah, and that is an error. I would like to state publicly that that is an error. There is no work session meeting for this Thursday. I'll remove that. Okay, thank you. Yep. Thanks for the. And if we, no, I'll leave it. We had, that, okay. NSBO, a internal control standards discussion. Ed, do you have anything on that? I think we're pretty much, I think you're, I need to have been documented the last 12 years. God, first time. Oh. Got it.
Nope.
Got it. Got it. So I think I shared with everybody the 12-year analysis of internal controls. Any questions asked me. And to the point I heard today, it's really about policy. What policy do you want to put in place? Right. And I introduced something some people may be familiar with. If you work with IT much, I'm introduced doing a swim lane. And that swim lane just is a very simple, okay, how do you fill in your page? How do you fill in your time card? Where does it go next? What happens here? And then get grasp of the current process. And then go back and say, okay, where are the weaknesses? And where do we need to put in a control system? Okay, and then voting to approve that policy. So there's several major cycles. Obviously, there's the payroll cycle. There's the claims or disbursements cycle. Then I think we need to look at the revenue cycle and make sure we understand those cycles. Capital is also in there, but I'm kind of looking at what's the most critical ones, what has the most effect on our control system. And I think there's a sense of we really want to have this in place mid-year 2026. It's going to be tough. But I think it'll be a good learning experience for everybody to go through and do a swim lane and understand that.
And I think what you just described in terms of the flow of money in, money out, is more of a kind of auditors, probably oversight.
It is.
And then the capital assets would be more the commissioners.
It is.
And so I'm focused on what the council is responsible for and is where I'd like us to talk. Could you kind of give us your analysis of that?
Okay, so what we need to do in that though is our internal controls are how those all work together because we are one government body, correct? Correct. So as far as I'm not that worried about the capital. I think there's a process there. It is generally a semi-minor factor unless you don't pay attention to it. But really, we're looking at let's hit the payroll cycle, let's hit the disbursement cycle, and make sure that we're really solid on those. And then the piece that's a little bit unique for me is government is fund accounting. I've never had to do fund accounting, but I've now figured out that fund accounting is nothing other than reconciling accounts, right? So I'm getting comfortable with those. I've talked with Julie several times about working together. It's just a matter of who and when.
The question, we alluded to this last year a little bit. With all items on the table, what's the value of another work session? No problem. I mean, it's not against us to have to work hard. To actually have one for internal controls, one for salary ordinance to move it forward.
I think there'd be value once we have a swim lane of what we're doing now
Yeah.
and some idea.
So in other words, right now, right, if I were to ask the payroll policy, I would get 10 different opinions. Okay, we simply don't know. The person you really ask is the person who's doing it. However, she's not only got one boss, but she's got a whole bunch of other people that are having input, and she's not in a position to say no. And so that's probably the toughest job you have out there right now.
So you need one in order before you can move on to the next, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so. I think we need to go through the processes and understand what we're doing. And we'll talk about why it needs to or why it doesn't need to be enhanced. That makes sense. And then have a one session on it. Because you're gonna be implementing a bunch of policies. And essentially, once you get one written, the other ones are not as hard. Just a real point of emphasis, there's this, when we start asking questions and doing the swim lanes, nobody's in trouble. There's no issue here. We're just all trying to gather information so we can do the very best we can to fix the audit findings. 2025 audits, I'm guessing probably primarily over because we don't have any effect to change the controls that happened in 25, but 2026, really be nice to go into that audit with yeah, okay, I'm not gonna find this, or you're gonna find that. It's always good to tell the auditors what they're gonna find before you fix it.
That's a good point. We're not here to give blame, but to learn and move forward.
Yeah.
That's the attitude we need to adhere to.
I mean, everybody's got full-time jobs, and every time I've gone in, people have full-time jobs. We gotta be real cautious to make this so that it doesn't cause a whole lot of extra work, and in fact, net, it reduces that work. We hope so. That's okay.
Thank you.
So, I'm coming in every Wednesday. And I've been going over different places, kind of working with them on some of their questions. So I'll keep coming in on Wednesday. Is that a good day for you?
Yeah, for the most part.
I hate Mondays and I hate Fridays. Because Mondays people are trying to make up for what they didn't get done the week before, and Friday everybody wants to go home. So Wednesdays is typically the best day to work.
Have you been to this building at work?
No, I've been in line. I used to have to do with people in the UK, they get off at noon. And if you schedule a 12:30 meeting for them, oh man, you're in big trouble. So, no. No phone every meetings. How's that? Okay, guys, understand there's control of the documents. And as Julian, as we get together, we need to engage the state auditors to make sure that we're following what they expect us to follow. It's always a lot easier when the person that's going to examine you tells you what to examine. That's not cheating, that's just doing it right. That's right. Being prepared. Yeah, being prepared for it. So, our goal should be a very nice 2026 audit. They have a long budget. Should be a very nice 2026 audit. We'll perhaps some of the early findings. And then, us finding them before they fund it. Good? Good. Thank you very much. Good job. Review of the agreement at 5 representation.
I see a cap on expense. I think we should link it to our budgeted amount. Unless I missed it, I see the hourly rate, but I don't see the not to exceed amount.
It's still $200.
Yeah. So I think we need, Jim, do you have legal budget number on your fingertips by chance? Yeah, I got it. I'll have to look it up. Can you look at that, Jim? No, good.
Jim, about the council budget, Scott.
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
It's the same as last year, if I recall correctly, right? Yeah. And,
Okay, Scott?
Yeah.
Looks like we got line 35,000 professional services, 30 grand.
Okay.
Is what's in there. But wait a minute. Line item 30,300 financial consultants, 132 grand. And I'm gonna, we don't need to spend 132
No.
grand at all.
No, we
We're
don't.
not even close to that.
No.
So the good thing is we got some fluff money in there that we can move someplace else.
Or just to not spend it.
Or money not to spend. We can double budget.
Okay. I mean, we approve the agreement as provided by Susan Beavers and add a not to exceed amount of $20,000.
Can I do something, Scott? Sure. So you're saying, hey, 20 grand.
Yeah.
Divided by $200 an hour, right?
Yeah.
That's 100 hours.
It's pretty tight.
It's 8 hours. So I don't know if historically she billed us to drive here and drive back.
What do you think? There was travel.
Well, if that's it, then we're paying $400 to have her drive up there and back.
She did provide a list in that email she sent us of her days of availability, and she would be willing to attend virtually.
Well,
To save us.
so what do we want to accomplish tonight? Just vote on her contract?
Yeah.
And just approve it? Yeah. So we can approve it. And then we as a body can make a decision of where's our cap. It's a realistic motion.
Yeah.
Well, but rather than making a decision now.
Well, what I do not want to do is pass the agreement with no cap.
Well, we can sort of cap this to be reviewed if there's going to be going further.
And that's kind of the point of the
It's open,
20,000
but it's there.
is if we get hit 20, we can increase it to 30.
Well, we got 30 grand for budget.
But we may have expenses that she may not provide legal advice on, or maybe other people. Who knows what that may come up. So I don't want to spend all of it. Right. I don't want that cap to be, I'd like us to squeeze that budget.
Yeah, I'm good with that, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Do
Right.
virtual.
Yeah, 'cause the other issue too is that with regards to the council body, to me, the only person that has authorization to contact or initiate any sort of conversation for billable hours would be you.
We need to include that because they can get out of control.
So that if you have,
That's not part of her, that's a policy.
I think that's a policy. And that's a policy, internal policy for the
We don't
council.
want outside people.
Well, well, then the other issue, and the other thing I don't know is that we had other departments access Susan. And then as the councilman billed for it, when the reality of it is, it's another department that's using Susan's services. I don't know. I'm just asking a question. So anyway, what I do know is that I think it would be extremely wise for us going forward. I'm not saying we gotta do it right away. It's kind of on the to-do list. Is to walk through these line item expenses and these in the various departments, right? And really understand, what are we spending on? How much are we spending? And really, is that wise for us to do that?
So are we gonna table it or are we gonna approve it with the fact that
No, I'd like to see us approve it.
we can approve it with exclusive to the president and cap 20,000 to be reviewed?
So I'd like to amend withdraw my motion, amend it. Okay. So I move we approve the agreement to provide legal representation to the council provided by Susan Beavers with 2 amendments. One being capping the total not to exceed amount at $20,000 per year, and 2, including in the agreement section, that all services provided by the attorney at first be authorized in writing or verbally by the council president.
So you put that into AI and have it spit it back.
I can take longer enough. I don't think anybody wants to stay long. You take the first half. So
Any further discussion? We go.
Yeah, let's go.
Give a motion to accept the agreement to provide legal representation by Susan with a limit of $20,000 and contact with her office regarding legal in writing through the council president.
With the permission of the council president.
Second. I'll say it. But the only question, we could bump that 20 if we have.
Yeah,
to.
yeah, right. Hopefully we don't have to. We'll try to meet it.
Yeah.
It's just a warning.
That's fine, yeah.
It's 20. The whole ring light goes off. Check engine light goes off and we go, whoa, yeah, change you over.
Yes, yes, yeah, okay.
All right.
So I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aaron,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes,
Scott,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
IU listening sessions. We had our first IU listening session for the SHC Sustained Hoosier Communities. It was this last Thursday. There was a very full turnout. It was a very successful meeting. A lot of people were really enthused about what was presented, their feedback. And we have another listening session meeting the 19th, this Thursday at 6:30 at the Van Buren Elementary School. There's going to be another listening session, just like the last one. And they're going to be collecting input on that. They also have an online report that you can fill out. I will make sure to get some of those information flyers and have them in here for people to access if they need them. And they're going to be collecting information through say November.
September, August or September.
Yeah, they're going to be collecting information and ideas for several months now. So I highly encourage everybody to visit them and give them their ideas. New business, we have there is.
Really, can I say one thing about that?
Yeah.
Briefly. It was good. I like their format because it wasn't a gripe session. It was a productive, let's make it happen session.
Yeah.
And they were very good about that. I thought it was very productive.
Yeah, there they were. New business, there is advertising for the vote centers. I'd asked her clerk if she was coming in today. She's going to come in at our next regular meeting. Our work session. No.
Regular meeting.
Next regular meeting. What she is doing right now is she is including information for all of the vote center changes in with tax bills, property tax bills that are going out. There's going to be information in there about the vote center changes. Everybody who gets a property tax bill is going to get one of those in with their tax bill. What she's working on now is closing the gap on people who will not get the flyer through a property tax bill. So what she's looking for is she's looking at a reduced overall expense because the flyers are going to be sent with tax bills that most of the county residents are going to get. So that's going to cover most of the people with information on the vote center changes. And at this point, she does not know how much she's going to need to close those gaps. So, anybody have any comment?
Actually, I would also say that we updated the county website today on the slideshow that's on the front page. It advertises both the location of the voting centers and the times and locations of the early voting.
Okay, so that shows up on the front page in the
Right, there's a slideshow that's got some, pastoral, beautiful
Right.
pictures.
Okay, and it's gonna have
With our vote center information.
Okay, yeah, because earlier I talked about getting that on the page and, it's gonna be put in the election page and I asked her to get with you and see if there was a way to put it on the front page, so. That's great.
That's all you gotta do is.
Thank you, Eric.
I'm sorry.
Thank you very much for that.
Nobody goes.
I have a question. Audience comment?
Yes, please. Sherry Mitchell. When do our tax bills go out?
Wow. And understand you.
Our tax bills, what day do they go out? They're due the first of May, right?
We do make it, so they will usually
So when are they going on?
probably around the middle of April.
So 2 weeks notice,
Yeah, at least 2 weeks notice.
and that's provided they open them.
Yeah.
So that means that, so that means that anybody that's living in a rental will not get one because the bill will go to the homeowner. So the people living in the rental, how will she determine who those people are?
I don't know if that's what she's looking at. Usually a rental, people who are renting do not pay the taxes the actual homeowner does. Right, that's what I'm saying. Okay. So anybody,
That's what I just said.
anybody in a rental will not receive a property tax bill. Yeah, they will receive a notice with the property tax. Correct. What she's
Where-
looking at is those gaps that need to be covered and how she's gonna cover them.
You're gonna have Ed do your internal control?
Not signing up for that one. Oh, come on.
What's the objection to just mailing them out, fellas?
Cost savings.
You're getting $100,000 from the music center in a month. I really don't wanna hear it. It's $10,000. It's nothing. You guys don't have 10 grand.
I don't know.
You do.
I don't know, there's objection. We want to just go to due diligence to find out how to best to address the problem.
Yeah, the most efficient way to do it. The most.
When we moved the voting locations, when Kathy was here, we sent out the notice. When we moved the early voting locations, when Brenda was here, we sent out the notice. I don't know why we're fighting this, fellas. I really don't understand it.
Nobody's
We're not
fighting.
fighting it.
We're trying to come up with the most efficient, the most productive way to
It's
do it.
$10,000.
We want to save you money.
I don't want you to save me $10,000. Okay, thank you though. Thank you very, very much. But you can save me money by putting your internal controls in and get my credit score back up. That would help tremendously and be way over 10 grand. Really, please. It's $10,000.
Okay, what?
Sherry, can I ask you a question?
What we
Yes,
used to do
you may,
that,
Jim.
hold on,
Okay,
Jim.
let me ask a question here real quick. I guess I don't understand, why this is all of a sudden, a major issue. Because I would assume that anyone that is a Brown County citizen, they're aware that this is a midterm election. And if that individual wants to vote, that is their personal responsibility. Okay, for them to determine where they vote, when they can vote. That's the voter's responsibility.
Will you tell that 90-year-old lady all about it?
Well, where's the 90-year-old?
cut it out.
No, I'm not going to, because to me, what you're doing, Sherry, is you're politicizing this.
It is political. It's
You're
still voting.
politicizing this, you're politicizing the issue, and basically what you're saying is that if a guy chooses to live under a rock, then Brown County has to pay to go, somebody to go deliver that guy and say, hey, you under a rock, you need to, here's when you can go vote. And to me, that's personal responsibility. So if the 90-year-old woman, Velda Blue Hair, is 90 years old and can't drive, then I would assume that she probably attends a church, she's probably got family members, she's probably got a radio, she's probably got a TV, and I would hope and pray that she has a phone. So, anyone within the county that knows this is a primary, they know, for example, you have questions, they can't simply just call the clerk's office. I mean, I'm certain somebody there at the clerk's office could tell them, yeah, it's coming up, it's in May like it always. Isn't the election, the primary, always May? Yeah, okay. So I know
First Tuesday.
So the clerk is handling this, they're on top of it. All right, we will make certain that, everybody in the county do, reasonable and customary approach to make sure we've done everything we can to make everybody aware of the voting centers, what the dates are, all of that.
But on the flip side of the coin, it's also personal responsibility of the Brown County citizen to take a little initiative on their own, okay?
Now, there is also a duty of the clerk is to inform the voters that, so, but what we can't do today is spend money on the advertisement or say we're going to spend money when it's up to the clerk to determine how she needs to do it. We can't force the clerk to do anything.
I agree.
So that's what we're waiting to hear back from her, what her plan is for addressing the people that do not get covered by property tax bill.
Okay. Hey, Scott.
Yeah.
What's the internet availability in my county, please?
In your house or?
No, in the county. How many people in the county have internet service or access? He did a project, yeah?
Yeah, so I think we have 7,500 homes now. I don't know how many addresses. Have you looked at how many addresses?
That sounds really right. So we'll
So
play with that.
I think it's around 7,000 last time I looked that had fiber either committed or coming or existing. And then there's been a recent federal government grant project that is intended to cover every single last home. And in Brown County, those remaining, call it 500 homes, it could be up or down. We've had a lot of homes built recently, but I think all of those almost have fiber connected because they would not build a home without it. But, you know, call it 500 homes remaining that may be in those nooks and crannies, and there are several out there. I've heard from many of these folks. If you're one of those folks, I would like to hear from you.
Okay. I don't have internet service either, so you're.
In one of the nooks and crannies.
Yeah.
And so, because what we've received is funding from the federal government, which has been kind of a long time coming. It's been a couple of years in the process. That is going to be a mix of a little bit of fiber, a little bit of cable. Last time I checked, a little bit of wireless, and also some Starlink.
But there are homes and there are other areas in this county that do not have access to internet.
There are homes in every county in the state that don't
But
have
this county
access.
particularly is all I'm.
In our county, we are, last time I checked, one of the best served counties in the state, including our upload speeds compared to Marion County. We're actually better than Marion County in our upload speeds. And so it's quite impressive where we stand, but I have not forgotten about those 500 homes. Again, I want to hear from you. I think you've been taken care of. If you reach out to me, I can help you figure out what that is. And we'll be happy to help.
But still, there are areas, there are places, it is happening. Anyways, thank you, gentlemen.
All right, we have council bill number 1, reduction of appropriations from the lit economic development. Julie? What do you want?
What do you want?
I thought that's what you tabled for now. Yeah, you tabled that already.
Is this I wasn't sure what that was from Susan. Yes. A reduction in the road budget?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
You added 40 grand to our economic development for road improvements that we didn't know, we didn't need.
Added or reduced?
You added it. We're saying we don't need it, you can have it back. So in order to do that, you have to have an ordinance, and that's what she created.
Right.
And it's not an additional appropriation, it's a reduction.
No, it's a reduction.
Well, I mean, I'm surprised we would reduce a road budget.
We gave them 100, they asked for 60. Is that true?
Are you sure you want to reduce it? You can't use it anywhere?
I've said it 5 times. Remember when we were going over the numbers and it was a negative, you said why is it negative, and I couldn't remember what the negative was? That's what it is. We didn't have it in our economic development. We didn't need it because the highway department took over their portion of it. And you guys added it in and we didn't need it, so we were giving it back.
So as an ordinance, it would require 2 votes or two votes, we could suspend the rules and do both tonight. So it's the reduction in appropriation.
Where's the ordinance? Where's the ordinance? Number one. Okay, number two, you know, essentially what we're doing is we're basically deleting a line item out of this lead economic development fund. This is what we're doing, correct?
Yeah, you're just deleting what's in the.
Yeah, we're deleting a line item. It has a line item number, correct, for 40 grand.
Yep.
Okay. But I don't, you know,
I do not have a printed version going now.
I don't have any, that's the first I don't have any, it's real simple. Here's the department, here's the fund, here's the line item, we're gonna delete the line item. It's basically what we're doing,
By
right?
statute, because it's a reduction.
Yeah, I understand that. It takes an ordinance, I know the difference in an ordinance and a resolution. So it is, yeah, and so, but we don't, there's no documentation on any of this. There's nothing. And so that's where my frustration is.
You want to table it?
Yeah, until we get some documentation. I'll motion to table this, until we get some documentation, we can deal with, you know, for 10 minutes after the discussion session.
I'll second it. Okay, we have a motion to table. Council number one, and a second, all in favor? Aye.
No,
Gary,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes,
Scott,
no, because I think you're gonna need it.
Gary,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Joel, Jim,
Yes.
Budget process for 2027 budget. Do we want to include that in part of our talk about the salary ordinance and budget concerns that we're talking about?
Can I make a recommendation? Could I'd like us to do?
Yes.
One of the things we can do is in all 7 of us council members. Okay, we have these special session meetings every first Thursday of every month from 9 to 12. So this is February, so that means we have 10 more of these things. Mr. Hewitt brought up the fact that we may have to have a few more. Okay, very, very possible. We may have to do that. So what I would recommend all of us do is put some serious thought into, because I think you've got 1 year budget process on your belt, even though it was kind of a helter-skelter. Let's go through, look at those special session meetings, and let's kind of map out the agenda for the entire year, for the whole year.
Here's what I'll make sure you get.
I understand.
If you have.
I've got that, yeah, but what I'm asking us to do, resubmit that. We had one last year that we didn't follow, okay, last year, right? And so what I'm asking is that we all put some thought into it, and let's kind of think through the budget, right? And then let's map out those agendas in advance, so we know, okay, this, you know, what sequence.
So we have
Yeah.
that direction.
Well, here's the direction of what, and probably, because I guess what I'm trying to say is let's look at that budget process and let's look at it and let's, how do we prioritize everything that we've got, the scope of all the work that's involved?
Patrick, I like your idea. We've got this Thursday work session
Yes.
already on the calendar. Let's leave it on there and meet Thursday.
Right.
And talk about the 2 things that I got kicked off.
You talking about like this?
Yeah, let's jump forward, the internal controls and the budget process we're talking about.
Be there?
I cannot be there.
Yeah, I have it on my calendar, because Julie gave us the schedule, and I've already got all my meetings with CRS. I know, right? Well, you gave us that printout.
That's right, that's right. Those were the show.
Yeah.
Patrick and I'll meet at,
But to Gary's point, we can call special sessions. You know, we can set up a special work session. And if we need to, if we come up with the necessity to do that, we can do that. I'm open to it. So. Karen? Yeah.
So I know we're not used to, okay, now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I know we're not used to some of the things that I took away from the company's work for, but I sent you all a timeline for the budget, which included Reedy and state requirements timeline. So there's a timeline on there. I'll call them a Gantt chart. I'll stop calling them a Gantt chart. But it's really a timeline. So you and I are gonna talk some tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'd like to take you through it, but I'm going to say that in about almost a year of coming, right? I think if we start putting things in timelines, and I think the suggestion of putting agendas on over a period of time are gonna greatly help things, because then you know what you're going to expect. Like if it's 2 weeks from now and you haven't gotten anything, 2 weeks from now, you're supposed to have the salary ordinance, I'm just using an example, and you don't see it, right? You should see it before you meet.
Yeah, and I had a conversation with the State Board of Accounts, okay? And, which makes sense. The council actually should pass the salary ordinance before
Oh,
we
yeah.
pass the budget.
Oh, yeah, it should,
Period.
it should be
Okay,
this.
so you got November 1st is the deadline for the budget, and you gotta back up. The other issue too is that I have, for the last 3 years, have spent an enormous amount of hours focusing on the expense side. Where I'm light is on the revenue side. Kind of understand what makes up the general fund as far as property tax, miscellaneous revenue, and income tax, right? But what I don't know for sure is if ever you run this budget process, we as a council body, all 7 of us, should have a thorough understanding of the forecast, because to be honest with you, and I despise the term budget. And I would prefer to use forecast, because that's in essence what
No, I would agree.
we're forecasting revenues and we're gonna forecast expenses. And if we get those forecasts wrong and we don't understand what's in there on the revenue side, right? We're in trouble.
Well,
Yeah, and so there's some work, basic work that we've got to do, I think, right? I mean, I get where you're kind of not disagreeing with you. You and I have had conversations about this already, right? But I just wanted to share that.
I would suggest that tomorrow when we discuss it, if you're comfortable too, because it does have the timing when the state gives us its forms. It runs a forecast for the mutual funds, and you're gonna have it on this date, and I believe it's May, isn't it, Jim? The revenue forecast for states. Yes. Okay, so really, that to me is.
Are you talking about the DLCF 1782?
I don't know the number.
There's several.
1782 is after.
I know that 1782 is, yeah, right, but yeah, so, okay.
It's,
But we, on these special sessions, we need to, that needs to be factored in.
Yes.
We have a conversation, probably have Reedy there as well, and have a conversation on the revenue side.
so the timeline I put in includes a timeline I got for reading, earlier.
Okay,
So
so you talked to Jerry Eklund on that?
no, but I was handed a copy of the 26 3D work
Yeah, okay.
proposal, right? It's just gotta get coordinated. So I think if we work on
Yeah, we're on
it,
the same page.
it's gonna save you guys a lot of grief.
Thank you.
No, yeah.
Okay, no problem. And, Julian, we just spent some time. Oh, yeah, okay, all right, I think. All right, thank you. So it's,
I've got a note on here, establishing our meeting structure. That's something we really need to deal with though in a work session. This gives me time for that. Yeah, I know. Correct. Should not use this time for that. Do we have any other council member business or concerns? Anybody? We're not going to Thursday, right?
Thank you.
Scott, if you could, give us a little update about the state park.
Yeah, thank you.
And maybe any other tidbits of information that you might have been privy with exercise up there about what the general temperature is in the state house regarding raising property taxes and lowering income tax.
Yeah, it's not quite as crazy as last year in the state house this year. I have recently been put on the County Council Association Vice President and on the legislative committee. And so been paying very close attention to what's happening with our tax rates, our budget issues. And there are several things that are out there, nothing nearly as major as last year. The state park gate fees one I've been paying attention to because that's a direct revenue source for the county that would offset taxpayers' expenses for public safety in the state park and state forest. That has passed all the House committees, moved through the House over to the Senate, and has been sent to has passed the Senate Natural Resource Committee and has been passed to appropriations, where we had difficulty last year. It's there now, and hopefully we'll get a hearing. And so in addition to that, gosh, what else? Gosh, there are some local income tax committees that are being proposed that would be formed. And we're in kind of a weird, unique situation with only one town. And that town is very small. It doesn't appear that we're going to be the kind of the typical lit committee type of situation. I won't go too far into it, but they still want us to raise income taxes to offset property tax rates, it appears. And gosh, last year trying to get innkeeper's tax to go towards public safety to offset property taxes and income tax on residents was not received well. They really want us to increase our income tax. And so to offset those things. And so they've increased the cap that we can put that income tax at, and are kind of, it appears to be encouraging with a stick, not a carrot in some ways. It's like kind of a stick and a carrot for us to do that. And it's still very much in the works, very much being discussed in session outside of the committee hearings by our representatives at AIC, AIM, and others. So there's a quick update for you. Thank you for the question. Just take a motion to adjourn.
Don't go anywhere yet. We have minutes to sign.
Yep.
They did not get sent.
I move to adjourn if we sign minutes.
Yeah.
Mr. President.
Yes. Oh.
Got a quick answer to your question earlier. I looked it up. Taking a vote by voice, voice vote is the most common and customary method of voting. The presiding officer or chairman simply asks the assembly, all those in favor say aye, all those opposed say no. This is one of the most efficient methods of voting under Robert's rules, and it's usually quite straightforward. It's important that the negative vote is always asked for as well as the positive vote. To keep it fair to all those involved. It says, however, if the vote is closed, for we have a small board, pretty easy for Sandy to count on 7 people. We don't really, it's not like you have 40 people and she's trying to get all the names. She can pick up a no vote pretty easily. And it goes into that, said if the vote is close, the chairman should retake the vote in another method, such as rising, standing up, or by show of hands, whichever is the easiest way to measure it. And then it goes in real quickly to roll call voting. A roll call vote is mainly used in situations where members represent constituencies. It's important that the constituents know how their delegate voted. Each assembly has different bylaws around how this is ordered. So it's kind of a little bit gray because with that large numbers, it's a little bit different than the special constituencies. I hope that didn't muddy it.
No, thank you. Thank you.
But just remember to also ask for the no vote.
Yeah.
Which we neglected twice, but
We don't want to leave
it's
Jim out.
simple. It's simple. Just make sure we do it.
I thought I asked for all those at the time. Did I just? Okay,
That's all right.
thank you.
Got a question. Nay is unacceptable. How come A is? Wouldn't it be yes, no instead of?
It took me 45 minutes to find this.
Thanks,
One question, Sandy, is the roll call vote helpful for you? Or is it,
That's a
is
no.
it something, is it necessary for you, or do you want to just go show of hands?
Yeah, it's actually a show of hands.
Okay, we can mix the roll call.
Yeah, unless it's a contentious or close vote.
Well, the issue was to the constituents.
Yeah, she makes note of.
So you do that anyways?
Yeah, it's in the minutes.
Yeah, if it's-
She always puts in the minutes.
I think Sandy should have the discretionary authority that if she needs to do a roll call just to make sure that she heard everything correctly, she has the ability to do that. Or if she has the votes, and she knows what they are, then she just, that would be unusual.
Typically it's presidents, but, and that's where I say to you, Darren, if it's a close vote or something, you know, you probably call for her, so she can,
Yeah,
yeah, 2 to 3 or 4, 2 or 3 or, but yeah, I mean, if you missed it or whatever, yeah.
If we just do a show of hands, you're able to say who voted yes and who voted no. If we ever get to a roll, we can do it. But as of right now,
Would you like a roll call vote on our adjournment motion?
Hold on, I just want you to finish it.
before we do this, go. Do we want to make a motion on that or just?
No.
She does not do a roll call. Is everybody okay with
Play
that?
it by
Is everybody okay with
Let's see what
that? Phil, Judy, can you hear us? Are you guys okay with that?
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.